She told me she was at a spa. I found her wrapped in another man's arms, champagne in hand, laughing like I didn't exist. I came home 3 hours early. No suspicion, no gut feeling, just a canceled meeting and an earlier flight out of Denver. I didn't even tell her I was coming back sooner. Thought I'd surprise her. Something sweet. Something small. I stopped at that bakery she likes on La Brea, picked up her favorite lemon tarts. She always says they're too sweet, then eats 2 in one sitting. It was supposed to be a nice weekend. I was thinking wine, maybe her favorite movie. A slow Friday night after a long week. But when I stepped through the front door, something was off. The air felt wrong. No Luna. Our golden retriever usually rushes me at the door. She wasn't there. The house was too quiet. No TV, no music, not even the faint hum of laundry running. The kitchen was spotless. No coffee mug in the sink, no half-eaten toast, no banana peel. Just clean. Empty. I called her. Voicemail. I sent a text. Hey, home early. You and Haley leave already. No reply. She'd told me she and her sister were heading to Ojai for a girls' weekend. Spa, yoga, wine detox. Said they'd leave around noon. Said they'd be offline. Digital cleanse, or whatever. It all made sense until it didn't. I sat on the couch. Tried to shake it off. Opened the iPad. Didn't mean to snoop. Not really. Just wanted to put on a movie. But when I unlocked it, it opened straight to the Uber app. Her account was still logged in. And it was open to the trip history. My thumb froze. Last ride, 2:12 p.m. Pickup, our address. Drop off, 1231 Benedict Canyon Drive. Not Ojai. I stared at it. I knew that street. That part of Beverly Hills. The houses weren't just big, they were hidden. Behind gates, up private drives. The kind of places that had names instead of numbers. I tapped for the receipt. $56.43. Black SUV. No return trip. Then I scrolled. Another ride, 20 minutes later. From that same address to a liquor store on Sunset. The receipt said, 2 stops, 14 minutes. Then nothing. She'd turned off location sharing after that. I didn't think. I grabbed my keys. Left the tarts on the counter. Got in the car and drove. Traffic was thick, slow. Every red light felt like an insult. My mind was racing. Maybe it was nothing. Maybe she and Haley decided on something last minute. Maybe the spa had a pop-up. Maybe I was overthinking. But my hands were already sweating. I parked 2 houses down. Killed the engine. Sat there for a moment, just watching the gates. Nothing. No sounds. Then laughter. It drifted through the air like music. Not polite laughter. Big, open, carefree. And then I saw it. Through a break in the hedge. The pool. The lights. Her. My wife. Wearing a sheer black robe. Wet hair down her back. Champagne glass in hand. On the edge of a pool. Sitting close. Too close. To a man I'd never seen before. Mid-40s maybe. Tan. Shirtless. Gold chain. His hand on her thigh like it lived there. She leaned into him, like she belonged there. Then Haley. Her sister. In the water, topless. Taking pictures with her phone. Laughing. Splashing. It hit me like a car. My lungs forgot how to work. My pulse dropped and spiked at the same time. They weren't hiding. Not even a little. I stood there, behind the hedge, watching like a ghost. Invisible. Nothing. I called her. She picked up on the third ring. Her voice was soft, breathy. Hey, babe. Everything okay? Yeah, I said, watching her raise the glass to her lips. My flight got canceled. I'll be home soon. There was a pause. Just 1 second. But long enough. Then she laughed. A fake, sugary laugh. Oh, okay. Well, can't wait. She hung up. I watched her step out of the man's lap. Say something to Haley. Urgent. Fast. I backed away. Quiet. Got in my car and drove. Every traffic light blurred. Every breath hurt. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. But something inside me broke. Or maybe it snapped into place. By the time I got home, I wasn't the same man who left Denver that morning. I was someone else now. Someone who wanted the truth. And revenge. I didn't sleep. Not really. I sat in the living room with the lights off for hours, just staring at the floor. The Uber receipts were still on the iPad. The memory of her robe, her laugh, the way she leaned into him, burned into my brain like acid. I should have screamed. Should have broken something. But I didn't. I just sat. Still. Cold. Around midnight, I got up and started cooking. Not because I was hungry. I just needed my hands to do something that wouldn't end with a hole in the wall. I made her favorite, truffle cream fettuccine. Opened a bottle of wine. Lit candles. Dimmed the lights. Set the table for 2. By 1 a.m., the food was still warm. I was seated at the table, calm, controlled, the picture of patience. At 1:12 a.m., the door opened. Heels clicked on hardwood. I didn't turn, just stirred the pasta once more. She stood in the doorway for a second, like she was caught in a dream she didn't remember entering. Jake. I turned and smiled. Surprise. Her eyes were wide. She was still in the same robe. Hair damp. Face clean. Fresh from someone else's embrace, but trying to look innocent. I thought your flight was tomorrow night, she said, voice a little too high. It was, I said, standing. I decided I missed you. She hesitated, then stepped inside. Walked toward the table like she wasn't sure if she was welcome. That's sweet. You cooked. I nodded. Your favorite. She sat. Didn't touch the food. I poured wine. Did you have a nice night? She blinked. Just once. Yeah. Spa was great. Detoxing. You know. I almost laughed. Almost. Must have been a new spa, I said. The one on Benedict Canyon. Silence. Then she looked up. I sharp. What are you talking about? Uber. Ash. You left it open on the iPad. She went pale. Didn't speak. I continued, calm. Then there was the liquor store. The champagne. The second ride. Then nothing. Because you turned off location sharing. She opened her mouth. Closed it. Tried again. It's not what you think. Classic. I set my wine down. So you weren't in a robe on the edge of someone else's pool while your sister took pictures. You weren't wrapped around him like he was yours. Her face twisted. Like she wanted to cry. Or punch me. You're insane, she snapped. You've been paranoid for months. Maybe if you didn't bury yourself in work. Don't. You. Dare. My voice was quiet. Steady. But it stopped her cold. Don't gaslight me, Ash. I saw everything. I saw you. I watched you lie to me while you were still wet from his pool. She stood. What do you want me to say, Jake? That I'm bored? That you stopped making me feel anything? That I needed to feel alive again? There it was. Not even an apology. I stepped back. Crossed my arms. So you became someone else's? Just like that. She rolled her eyes. God, you're so dramatic. No, Ash. You made it dramatic. I just showed up. She laughed. Bitter. You think you're perfect? You forgot how to be a husband. At least Dominic listened. Dominic. I didn't even flinch. Good, I said. Then you won't be mine tomorrow. Or ever again. Her eyes widened. You're divorcing me? You'll get the papers next week. She stepped toward me. Jake, wait. No. You waited. You gambled everything for a few cheap nights and a richer man. You lost. Now live with it. I picked up the keys. Walked out. Left her in the candlelight, next to food she didn't deserve. That night, I didn't cry. I started planning. The motel smelled like bleach and cheap air freshener. I chose it because it was close to the freeway and because it had no questions, no history. Just a room. 4 walls. A lock. I spent the rest of that night staring at the ceiling, my mind turning over everything she said. Everything she didn't. The way she never said sorry. The way she deflected. The way she named him so casually, like I'd already been replaced. I barely slept. When I did, I dreamed of her laugh in that backyard, the splash of water, the sound of ice in a glass. By morning, my phone was buzzing. Texts, calls, voicemails. Ash, Jake, can we talk? Please. Ash, I didn't mean to hurt you. It wasn't even serious. Ash, I felt lost. I need to explain. Every word felt like a landmine. I didn't answer. I showered, got dressed, sat on the edge of the bed and stared at the blank TV screen for 20 minutes. Then I opened my contacts. Haley. She'd been there. She'd seen it all. Maybe she'd tell the truth. I called. She answered on the second ring. Jake. I just want to talk. Silence. I'm not mad, Haley. I just need answers. Another pause. Then a sigh. Okay. There's a cafe on Olympic. I'll be there in 30. She was already sitting when I arrived. Hoodie up. Sunglasses on. No makeup. She looked younger. Smaller. Like someone who knew she was in deep. Thanks for coming, I said. She nodded. Didn't speak right away. I didn't know you saw, she said finally. I did. She exhaled, like it almost hurt. Then leaned forward. Ashley's been seeing that guy, Dominic, for a while. Months, I think. Maybe longer. I clenched my jaw. She told me it wasn't cheating if it didn't mean anything. Said you were too busy to notice. Said it was harmless. And you just went along with it? I didn't know at first, Haley snapped. I thought it was just drinks. I thought she was joking. Then she invited me to the house. Told me it'd be fun. Said I owed her. Owed her. Haley looked down. Picked at her fingernail. Ashley's always had this way. She gets in your head. Makes you feel like you're the one being unfair. She looked up again. She used me too. I didn't want to be there that night. I told her it felt wrong. She said you'd never find out. That you were too soft to leave even if you did. Those words landed like a punch. She said that. Haley nodded slowly. I think she wanted to get caught. I stared at her. She's been building a story, Jake. Recording your arguments. Saving voice notes. Cutting them up. She said if it came to divorce, she needed to make it look like you were the problem. My blood went cold. What kind of recordings? I don't know all of it. But I heard one. She played it back. You sounded angry. But it was chopped up. Out of context. I recognized your voice, but not the way it was put together. I leaned back. My mind spinning. Haley reached into her bag. Pulled out a flash drive. I copied everything I could from her laptop. The night you called her. She was drunk. Didn't log out. I saw the folder. Downloaded it before she noticed. I stared at it. Why are you helping me? She swallowed. Because she's done this before. Not like this. But she ruins people, Jake. And she always walks away clean. I can't let her do it again. I took the drive. Thank you. She stood to leave. Turned back once. She's not done trying. You know that, right? Neither am I said. And I meant it. I drove straight from the cafe to the motel. Didn't stop. Didn't think. Just got back, locked the door, and opened my laptop. The flash drive was small. Black. Unmarked. It clicked into the USB port with a soft sound that suddenly felt loud in the silence. There were 12 files. All audio. Each one labeled by date. I played the first. My voice. Arguing. But something was off. I knew what I'd said that night. And this wasn't it. The words were mine. The tone wasn't. She'd cut pieces out. Rearranged them. Paused between my phrases to insert silence or sighs or background noise. It was like listening to a version of myself from another universe. In one clip, I said, I don't care about you. But I remembered the real line. I don't care about you canceling dinner. We'll eat another night. She'd sliced the back half clean off. Another one. Why do you even try? In the real conversation, I was talking about a TV show pitch she'd hated. Why do you even try to watch those documentaries if you can't sit through 10 minutes? But she turned it into venom. There were more. All like that. Short, sharp, jagged. A version of me built for pity. For court. For control. I sat there, numb, listening to the image of myself she had created. A version made to look angry, cruel, distant. A man ready to explode. The kind of man a woman might need protection from. Then I opened the folder properties. The files had been created over 3 weeks ago. She'd been planning this. Before I ever knew. I stayed up all night going through them. Making copies. Backing them up. My laptop fan ran hot, the hard drive clicking with every movement. By sunrise, I had a folder with every manipulated file, labeled and sorted. And I had Haley's original copies. Side by side, they told the truth. I called a lawyer. Daniel Cross. Referred by a colleague. Former prosecutor turned divorce attorney. Reputation for being sharp, fast, brutal. He called me back within an hour. If what you're saying is true, he said, you don't have time. You need to move. Today. I met him at his office that afternoon. Clean lines, dark leather, big windows. He didn't offer condolences. Just results. I laid it out. The affair. The recordings. The manipulation. The theft of my words. He listened, nodding slowly. Then flipped his monitor around. Case filed. 2 hours ago. Ashley Porter versus Jacob Porter. Grounds. Emotional neglect. Verbal aggression. Isolation. Control. She filed first. She's trying to get ahead of you, he said. Control the story. Make you the villain before you can defend yourself. I laughed once. Short. Cold. She was naked in another man's arms, and now she's calling me abusive? Proof beats perception, Daniel said. Right now, she's got a head start. But if we can prove manipulation, we flip the game. I pulled out the drive. Set it on the table. These are the edited clips. These, I opened my laptop, are the originals. He raised an eyebrow. Well then, he said, let's burn her story to the ground. We filed the counterclaim that evening. Attached every file. Audio logs. Uber receipts. GPS pings. Photos from that night. Daniel added digital fraud. Manipulation of evidence. Intentional emotional harm. I walked out of that office lighter. Not happy, not free, but sharp, focused. This wasn't heartbreak anymore. It was war. The first court date was scheduled for the following Tuesday. She hadn't responded to any of my texts. The missed calls stopped after that first day. Radio silence. Maybe her lawyer told her to stay quiet. Or maybe she was just that confident. I spent the weekend building. Not walls. Not defenses. A case. Every Uber receipt. Every location ping. Every email. Every bank transaction. I printed out timelines, highlighted discrepancies. I matched her messages with rides, photos with timestamps. I downloaded our home security footage, the door camera that caught her leaving that morning in workout clothes and coming back 48 hours later in the same robe she wore at the pool. I backed it all up twice. I didn't sleep much. Didn't need to. My adrenaline did the work. By Monday morning, I had a file 2 inches thick and 3 flash drives. Daniel called it a gift-wrapped bomb. She's going to try to control the courtroom, he said. Act small. Quiet. Like she's just trying to survive a cold marriage. You let me handle that. You don't react. You don't argue. You let the facts bleed. Tuesday came fast. We sat across the room from each other. She wore a gray blazer, minimal makeup, hair pinned back. She looked delicate, like someone holding broken pieces together with willpower and good posture. She didn't look at me. Her lawyer did all the talking, claimed emotional abandonment, stated I worked too much, that I ignored her, that our relationship had collapsed months ago, and she had tried, earnestly, to hold it together. She sat there, nodding quietly, eyes glassy. Then they brought up the recordings. Her lawyer pulled out a USB. These are conversations between the two parties, he said. They will demonstrate a pattern of verbal aggression and emotional disregard. Daniel stood, calm, precise. Your Honor, he said, we also have audio files. The unedited versions. We believe what the petitioner has submitted has been manipulated, selectively edited, intentionally distorted. The judge raised an eyebrow. You're saying they're doctored? Yes. And we have originals with matching timestamps and metadata. The judge didn't say anything for a long time, just held out his hand. Daniel passed over our drive. Ashley's lawyer went pale. Ashley herself didn't move. The judge looked back at them. We'll review this in chambers. If there's merit, we'll revisit the petitioner's claims. If not, this could qualify as fraud. We were dismissed for the day. Outside, in the hallway, Ashley finally looked at me. Not with hate. Not with guilt. With fear. You went through my stuff, she hissed. You turned our marriage into a lie, I said. I just pulled the mask off. She crossed her arms. You think this makes you better than me? You still lost me. I didn't lose you, I said. I threw you away. She flinched. I walked past her. Didn't look back. That night, I got a text. Unknown number. You don't know the half of it. No name. But I had a guess. I replied. Then show me. The typing dots appeared. Then vanished. Nothing else came. But I didn't delete it. Because I knew this wasn't over. Not yet. The message haunted me. You don't know the half of it. I kept checking my phone every hour. Refreshing. Waiting for the dots to return. Nothing. Just silence. Like whoever sent it had already said too much. But I had a feeling. Haley. I hadn't heard from her since she gave me the flash drive. She was the only one with access to Ashley's digital world. And if she was willing to copy that folder, maybe she had more. I called her. Is there more? She didn't pretend. Didn't ask who it was. Yes. How bad? A pause. Then, worse than you think. She agreed to meet again. Same cafe. Same corner table. This time, she had a backpack with her. No sunglasses. Just tired eyes. She thinks she's smarter than everyone, Haley said. But she's sloppy when she drinks. Leaves stuff open. Talks too much. She pulled out another flash drive. This one's from her cloud. She synced it with her laptop but never deleted the temp files. I copied everything. Messages. Screenshots. Her notes app. The whole mess. I took it. Didn't speak. She was planning this for months, Jake. Not just the audio. She was cataloging everything. Creating timelines. Building a narrative. Trying to flip the story. Make you look like the aggressor. Haley looked down. She even recorded one of your calls and wrote a fake transcript. Why are you telling me this now? She hesitated. Because she did it to me, too. Years ago. Different guy. Different lie. But same game. And I let it slide back then. I thought, maybe that's just who she is. But this? What she's doing to you? I can't ignore it. I left with the drive. Took it straight to Daniel. We spent 6 hours going through everything. Some of it was mind-blowing. Ashley had logged every argument, every payment, every late night I worked. She had a spreadsheet of my credit card charges, highlighted in red. She'd marked purchases that might look bad in court. She had a folder named Case_Ashley with subfolders, Jake_mood swings, missed anniversaries, income_gap, and one labeled exit plan. That one made me sick. Inside, fake resumes, copies of apartment listings, bank transfers from our joint account to a PayPal under a fake name. All logged, hidden behind a password I cracked in 4 tries. She wasn't leaving me. She was erasing me. Daniel sat back in his chair and exhaled. This changes everything. We need to act now. We're not just defending you anymore, he said. We're going on offense. We filed an emergency motion that night. Included the full set of evidence. The judge approved a temporary freeze on our joint accounts. Subpoenaed her financials. Ordered her to surrender all recordings by Friday. The next morning, I came home to find Ashley waiting on the front steps. She had a duffel bag by her side and a bottle of wine in her hand. Can we talk? She asked. No. Please. Just 5 minutes. You've had months. She looked up, eyes rimmed red but dry. I didn't think you'd fight back. You counted on that. You don't understand what it's like, Jake. Living in your shadow. Always being the one who's waiting. Watching. You work. You build. You chase. And I'm just, what? The cheerleader. You were my wife. That meant something. Or it should have. She stood. I made mistakes. I know that. But I was scared. I didn't know how to tell you I felt invisible. So you slept with someone else. Lied. Stole. Fabricated evidence. I panicked. You schemed. She flinched. Are you really going to ruin me, Jake? No, I said. You did that all by yourself. She didn't argue. Just picked up her bag. And left. I didn't sleep the night before the hearing. I didn't even try. My body was still, but my mind moved like it was sprinting blind through fog. Every hour I sat in the motel room with the TV off and my laptop open, reading through the same folder Haley gave me. Every note Ashley had written, every manipulated quote, every lie laid out like a blueprint of betrayal. She didn't just cheat. She strategized. She scripted. She studied me like a case study and built a version of me designed to collapse under scrutiny. It was war before I even knew we were fighting. Daniel picked me up at 8:30 sharp. Black BMW. Windows tinted. He looked like he always did, tailored suit, pressed shirt, no-nonsense face. But there was something else in his eyes that morning. Focused anger. This is the day we flip the narrative, he said. Court was quiet. Tense. We weren't arguing yet. Today was about evidence. The judge was prepared to hear our motion and determine if Ashley's original claims should be stricken from the record. If the evidence proved she fabricated or manipulated anything, her case could implode. Ashley walked in like she owned the floor. White blouse. Light makeup. Delicate necklace I'd bought her 3 birthdays ago. I wondered if it was on purpose, a prop in her stage play. She didn't look at me. Her lawyer stood when called. Made his statements clearly, but slower than last time. More cautious. He knew what was coming. Daniel stood second. No emotion. Just clarity. He handed the judge a thick folder of transcriptions and a USB. Explained the contents. The originals. The edited versions. The metadata. The timeline of manipulation. Then he handed over Haley's signed affidavit. That shifted the air. The judge asked for quiet while he reviewed the files. We waited 45 minutes in total silence. Ashley whispered once to her attorney. He shook his head. She folded her arms. Tight. Stiff. When the judge returned, his expression gave nothing away. This court finds probable manipulation of audio evidence by the petitioner, he said. Pending forensic review, all submitted recordings will be considered inadmissible until verified. Furthermore, the court will accept the counter-motion to investigate digital misconduct and intentional narrative distortion. Ashley didn't move, but her lawyer did. He leaned over, said something low. She nodded once. The judge continued. At this time, we will proceed with cross-examination next week. Both parties are instructed to provide full access to digital archives, including deleted files. Any attempt to tamper, delete, or obscure will be considered obstruction. Gavel hit. Session ended. Ashley moved fast. She was out the door before I stood. Daniel put a hand on my shoulder. We just took the floor out from under her. Now we finish. Outside, I wasn't expecting her to be waiting. But she was. Standing beside her car, arms crossed, jaw tight. How long have you been planning this? She asked. Planning? I didn't plan anything, Ash. I reacted. You're the one who drafted scripts. She stepped closer. You think you're the victim? You think any of this makes you a hero? No, I said. But it makes me honest. And I'll take that over whatever mask you're still wearing. Her voice dropped. I loved you once. Then you should have fought for me. Not against me. She turned away. Didn't say goodbye. Daniel and I walked to the car. He said nothing until we were 2 blocks away. You saw that folder labeled exit plan, right? Yeah, that's your leverage. But we've got more coming. Forensic team's already digging into her deleted messages. You're going to want to see what they find. Later that day, I got a call. Private number. Is this Jacob Porter? Yes. This is Blake Holloway. I'm with Cross's forensic team. We've uncovered some undeclared files during metadata reconstruction. I'm going to send you a secure zip. You'll want to look at file 0032 specifically. What is it? A pause. You'll see. The file hit my inbox 5 minutes later. I opened it. Password protected. Entered the string they'd given me. File 0032 was a screen recording. Ashley's laptop. Messages. Social DMs. One name caught my eye immediately. Dominic. She was sending him updates. Literally. Just sent the edited audio. His face when I confessed priceless. Should be enough to get the ball rolling. Then, the worst one. Once he breaks down, I'll make sure he signs fast. No drama. Then we vanish. He replied with a thumbs-up emoji and a champagne bottle. She wasn't just lying. She was erasing me with someone else's help. I closed the laptop. Sat still for maybe an hour. No music. No sound. Just rage. It wasn't even sadness anymore. It was precision. I didn't want revenge. I wanted exposure. I wanted the world to see who she really was. And now I had the proof. The kind no courtroom could ignore. I called Daniel. I've got something you need to see. He didn't ask what. Just said, email it now. We move tomorrow. So we did. By 9 a.m. the next morning, Daniel had already filed a motion to introduce the screen recording and text logs into evidence. The packet he submitted was brutal. Every message between Ashley and Dominic, laid out in order, with annotations, timelines, and highlighted intent. It wasn't just cheating. It was collusion, fraud, premeditated legal sabotage. The judge didn't wait. An emergency session was scheduled for the next day. Ashley didn't show up. Her lawyer came alone, flustered, sweating. He asked for a recess before things even began. The judge denied it. Daniel presented everything, every word, every manipulation. The forensic reports, the folder names, the false transcripts. The screen capture showing her typing out text messages about making me sign papers before he figures it all out. When Daniel was done, the courtroom was still. The judge leaned forward, fingers pressed together. This court finds compelling evidence of intentional misrepresentation, document fabrication, and strategic defamation with malice, he said. The petitioner is hereby instructed to appear before this court within 72 hours. Failure to comply will result in sanctions and potential referral for criminal investigation. That was the moment everything shifted. Ashley went silent. No messages. No calls. Her social media disappeared. Her phone rang once, then straight to voicemail. I got a call from Haley 2 days later. She's gone, she said. She packed up everything and left town. Didn't even say goodbye to Mom. Just vanished. I wasn't surprised. But I wasn't relieved either. Because now there were no more lies to fight. No more scripts to intercept. No more courtroom strategies. Just silence. And the wreckage. Daniel helped me finish the filing. We submitted for full dissolution of marriage with fault and damages. The court ruled in my favor. Every account she'd touched was audited. Every asset frozen until final settlement. Her name came off the house. Her access revoked. She tried to delay the financial rulings by email. Claimed she was out of state. Needed time. Her lawyer resigned 2 weeks later. The day I received the final court order, I walked into my house, sat down at the kitchen table, and just breathed. No words. No music. No rage. Just the smallest flicker of peace. Then came the envelope. No return address. No stamp. Just slid under the front door in the middle of the night. I almost stepped on it the next morning. Inside was a letter. Handwritten. 3 pages. From her. No greeting. Just, you won. Then paragraphs of excuses disguised as apologies. How she didn't know what she wanted. How she thought I had stopped caring. How she told herself Dominic was a mistake, but one she needed to make. How she didn't expect me to fight back. How she underestimated me. She wrote, You were always the steady one. I think that made me want chaos. And then, when the chaos became real, I hated it. But by then it was too late. She didn't ask to come back. Didn't beg. She just said she hoped someday I'd understand. That maybe the version of her I loved was never real. That maybe she didn't even know who she was, until it was over. She ended it with, "Don't forgive me. Just forget me." I folded the letter and dropped it in the trash. Not out of anger. Out of finality. Because the truth is, by then, I already had. 2 weeks passed without a single word. No news. No emails. Not even Haley had heard from her. It was like Ashley had been swallowed by the silence she created. Then I found the second account. It happened by accident. I was closing out a shared card and noticed a recurring charge under a name I didn't recognize, Ali Creative. I looked it up. It was a fake business. Registered months ago. Run through a proxy. But the address listed? Our home. My home. Daniel and I pulled bank records again. She had been siphoning small amounts for months, hundreds at a time. Nothing big enough to trigger flags. But over time, thousands were gone. Into that shell company. Then into a PayPal account. Then withdrawn. I had receipts now. Timestamps. Her IP address. Her logins. We filed another motion. This time, financial fraud. The judge didn't even hesitate. A full asset freeze. Forensic audit. Demand for appearance within 7 days. She didn't show. But that wasn't the end. Because I wasn't done. I gathered everything. The audio, the texts, the fake transcripts, the PayPal logs, and compiled them into a single file. A truth file. And I sent it. To her mother. To her former employer. To every friend who had once looked me in the eye and asked if I was working too much or giving Ashley enough attention. And then, I did something even colder. I posted it anonymously. On a site she once used to blog about self-worth and mindfulness. I didn't name her. Didn't need to. The story told itself. The aftermath was nuclear. Haley texted me a week later. She's in New Mexico. Living with a friend. Can't get a job. People saw. They all saw. I didn't reply. Because I wasn't angry anymore. I wasn't sad. I was finished. But she wasn't. Not completely. 3 days after that text from Haley, I got a call from Ashley's mother. I hadn't spoken to her since the beginning of this mess. She'd always liked me. Respected me. But now, her voice was cold, slow, careful. "Jake," she said, "I just need to know one thing. Is all of it true?" I paused. Not because I didn't know the answer. Because I hated that she even had to ask. "Yes," I said. "All of it." She was quiet for a long time. Then, softly, she said, "She's not the girl I raised." I didn't disagree. There was nothing left to say. After we hung up, I sat there, staring at my hands. Not shaking. Not clenched. Just still. I realized I hadn't felt that in months. That night, I cleared the last of her things from the house. Her scarves, her favorite mugs, the dumb glass jar she kept her bath salts in. I loaded everything into a box, taped it shut, and wrote on top in black marker, "Return to sender." I dropped it at her mother's house the next day. Left it on the porch. No note. Driving away, I didn't look in the mirror. The house was quiet now. The rooms finally felt like mine. I repainted the walls. Sold the bed. Threw out every towel that still smelled like her perfume. I got new sheets. New cutlery. New art on the walls. I got myself back. One night, I went back to the place where we first met. A wine bar on 3rd. I sat alone. Ordered the same drink I had that night. The bartender asked if I was waiting on someone. I said no. I wasn't. And I didn't check my phone once. On the way out, I left a tip twice the size of my bill. It wasn't about the money. It was about the message. I'm still here. Standing. Breathing. Free. It rained the day the paperwork finalized. The irony wasn't lost on me. Some people say endings come with fire, others with silence. Mine came with water. Clean. Slow. I stood on the front porch as the courier handed me the manila envelope. Inside, the decree. The ruling. The end. No drama. No final blowout. Just my name, hers, and the official line between what was and what would never be again. I signed it in the kitchen, at the same table where I once thought we'd raise children. I didn't cry. Later, I walked the house one last time, not because I was moving out, but because I was moving on. Each room had carried echoes. Her laugh in the hallway. Her heels on the stairs. The soft hum of her shower at midnight. They weren't there anymore. What remained was only soundless space. And in that silence, I heard something new. Peace. It didn't come like a wave. It came like breath. Natural. Quiet. Right. I went back to work full-time. Took on new projects. Rekindled old friendships I hadn't realized I'd let fade. Even Luna seemed lighter, as if she too had been holding something and that finally let go. People around me started asking if I was okay. I told them the truth. I wasn't just okay. I was free. Not from her. From who I had become around her. The man always over-explaining himself. The man rationalizing disrespect. The man begging for attention in invisible ways. He was gone, and what remained was solid. Sharpened by betrayal, but not broken by it. I had walked through hell and came out holding my own hand. Months later, I heard she tried to apply for a job 2 towns over. It didn't work out. Her reputation had traveled faster than she had. Haley reached out once more. Just a short message. You made it. For real. I replied, so did you. A week later, we met again. 1 coffee. No past to drag between us. Just 2 people who survived the same storm, sitting on opposite sides of a table, breathing easier than they had in years. She asked if I regretted any of it. I shook my head. Regret doesn't rebuild anything. We talked about her therapy, about art, about finding stillness. She told me Ashley had tried calling her, then ghosted when Haley didn't engage. I asked if she still felt guilty. No, she said. I felt trapped, but I chose to get out. That's what matters. Before we left, she looked at me and said, "You were never the weak one, Jake. Just the honest one." That used to scare her. That night, I opened the drawer where I'd kept Ashley's last letter. For a second, I considered reading it again. Then I tore it in half. Then again, and again, until it was just paper and dust. I took it outside, dropped it in the fire pit, lit a match, watched it burn. Sometimes, closure isn't quiet. Sometimes it's flame, controlled, chosen. A few months later, I met someone. At a bookstore of all places. We reached for the same book. Laughed. Talked about stories, about character arcs. She had this calm in her that didn't need to prove anything. Just presence. We had coffee. Then another. Then I stopped counting. I didn't tell her about Ashley. Not at first. She never asked. She just listened when I needed to speak. And when I didn't, she stayed anyway. I realized something then. Peace doesn't mean perfect. It just means safe. I don't need to be worshipped. I just need to be seen. I don't need to win. I just need to be heard. Ashley taught me what betrayal feels like. But the healing taught me what self-respect sounds like. Sometimes in silence. Sometimes in a voice that says, I don't chase storms anymore. I don't hate Ashley. I don't love her either. She's a ghost in a story I used to live inside. Sometimes, I think about that night with the lemon tarts. The surprise I planned. The hope I had. I don't regret it. That hope was real. Pure. Mine. She couldn't destroy that. I still keep the photo of us from the first year, but not because I miss her. I keep it because it reminds me of who I was before I started shrinking. Now I've grown past that frame, past that life, into someone I recognize again, someone I trust. And if you're reading this, wondering whether you're crazy or too emotional, or if you imagined all the red flags, let me say this. You didn't. Your peace is worth protecting, even if it means walking away from the person you once built your world around. Especially then. I didn't lose a wife. I shed a skin, and I finally fit the one I was meant to wear.